Live at the Felt Forum in New York, the time has elapsed for Seattle picking 5th. Seattle got that 5th pick, by the way, in a trade with New York. Here's a recap of who's been selected so far. And, gentlemen, it's a virtual complete basketball team, minus, say, a point guard, with Robinson at center and Gilliam and Williams at forward. Hobson's at your shooting guard. So it's a pretty good group of players. Maybe someday all-stars in the NBA. Let's go now to the 5th pick in the NBA. And here's David Stern.
The Seattle Supersonics select Scott Pippen of Central Arkansas.
Scott Pippen from the University of Central Arkansas. He's 21 years old, and that's right, folks, you probably have never heard of Scottie Pippen, but believe me, the NBA scouts heard about him, and Bill Russell was talking to people about this young man a few months ago, Rick Barry. I remember that Bill had his eye on him early out there, and he's, of course, out of the Seattle area, and Bill is moving around, and he liked him a great deal for Sacramento, but he's going to Seattle.
Well, Larry, you said that this is a big player that to come up in the draft, a big surprise for a lot of people, but not for you.
No, I don't think so. And when I looked at him on tape, I saw a lot of tape when I was in Atlanta last week watching him play. You know, it's interesting about him. He was recruited out of high school. He was 6'1", and he was recruited as a guard. And between his freshman and sophomore year, he grew 6 inches and is now 6'8". I mean, here's a player who's coming out, and you can look at the physique on this young man. He's really put together extremely well. He handles it well. In fact, you can see that stuff right there at the Aloha Classic in Hawaii after the season was over with. He won the slam dunk contest amongst a lot of other taller players out there. He's an outstanding talent. He can pass it, he can shoot it, he can handle it. He's the type of guy that can go out and play a point guard, and Seattle probably needs one of those.
Yes, they certainly do need some help in the backcourt, but I think that he is the type of player that can fit into that team. He will perhaps have a difficult time unless he's able to take over the backcourt duties to define some playing time, but I know that Bernie Bickerstaff has to be delighted to have a young man like this joining his team, and of course they get to pick again at the 9th position.
Seattle just around the corner from being a championship level team as the Los Angeles Lakers, and everybody in the Western Division found out, Western Conference found out this year. So Seattle gets Scottie Pippen. There are people who compare him to Dennis Rodman, the Detroit Pistons rookie. Would you agree with that, Larry?
Yeah, I would in some ways, except that I think he's a little bit better ball handler. He can take it back to the outside and handle the basketball much better. I tell you the thing that's nice about him too, and when you start to talk about a type of player, he can play a small forward, a big guard, a point guard. So it's nice to have that flexibility to move a player like him around.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's a much smoother player than Rodman, and certainly has a little bit more control of himself out there. A lot of people don't like the way Dennis Rodman goes crazy, but he was a fine addition to that Detroit ball club. The big thing is will Scottie get enough playing time to be a factor for Seattle come playoff time like Rodman was able to get with Detroit?
Well, you may not have known who Scottie Pippen was until right now, but starting with his first media interview, he'll be famous by tomorrow. Let's go to Charlie Neal.
Okay, thank you, Bob. I'm with Scottie Pippen right now. Scottie, you've put Central Arkansas on the map. You have to feel good about that.
Yeah, I feel real great. I think I gave the league the ARC a lot of publicity about me being selected high into the NBA as I did.
A lot of people didn't know about you. The NBA scouts did in the Aloha Classic. You had a great performance, also won the slam dunk contest. A lot of people sitting out there may not know, as our analyst mentioned earlier, when you came into the college, you were 6'1", and you grew to 6'7". What happened through years that you gained those 6 inches?
Well, I guess it was just, what you call late development. And, I guess I just had to stick with it and work. And by me working every day, trying to be ready and prepare for college, I ended up coming out to be a pretty good player.
I know you have to be looking forward when going to Seattle, more or less playing in the backcourt as opposed to the front court with guys like Xavier McDaniel and Tom Chambers there. As a 6'7" guard, do you feel that that's going to give you an added advantage because a lot of teams are looking for those bigger guards now in the mold of Magic Johnson?
Yeah, I feel that'll give me a great advantage. I feel, but still a whole lot that I have to learn about the NBA. And going in, I'm looking to go in and play probably the 3 position, but someday I want to be able to work my way into the point guard position.
All right, Scottie Pippen, we congratulate you on your selection today. Surprised you're going number 5 so high, and good luck to you in the future. Let's go back to Bob Neal.